Did you know that the Soviet Union was the first country to send a man into space? Yes, it's true. In the heat of the Cold War, the Soviets launched Yuri Gagarin into the cosmos, making him the first human to gaze upon the Earth from outside its atmosphere. This triumphant moment in history wasn't just an impressive feat of technology and science, it represented a significant victory in the space race. But the path to such monumental achievement was paved with a complex and intriguing history. Our journey begins in 1917 with the Bolshevik Revolution, a tumultuous period in Russian history. This revolution marked the overthrow of the Tsarist autocracy and the rise of the Bolsheviks under the leadership of Vladimir Lenin. The Bolsheviks, fueled by the ideals of Marxism, sought to create a workers' paradise, a state where the people had the power, not the aristocracy. In the wake of the revolution, the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic was established, and in 1922, it joined with the Ukrainian, Byelorussian, and Transcaucasian Soviet republics to form the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or as we know it, the Soviet Union. At the helm was Lenin, but following his death in 1924, Joseph Stalin rose to power. Stalin's rule would be marked by rapid industrialization, forced collectivization of agriculture, and purges that cost millions of lives. And thus, the Soviet Union was born, destined to become a superpower on the global stage. Scene script: World War II brought unprecedented challenges and changes for the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union played a pivotal role in World War II, its involvement marked by intense battles and immense sacrifice. The war on the Eastern Front, known in Russia as the Great Patriotic War, was a brutal theater of conflict, where the Soviet Union bore the brunt of the fighting against the Axis powers. One of the most harrowing episodes was the siege of Leningrad. For nearly 900 days, the city's residents endured a blockade with food and fuel supplies cut off. The spirit of resilience shown by the people of Leningrad in the face of such adversity is a testament to human endurance. Then there was the Battle of Stalingrad, one of the largest, longest, and bloodiest engagements in modern warfare. The Soviet Union's eventual victory marked a significant turning point in the war, bolstering Soviet morale and signaling a shift in momentum against the Axis powers. Simultaneously, the Soviet Union was forging relationships with the Allies, a coalition bound by the common goal of defeating the Axis powers. While these relationships were often fraught with tension and mutual suspicion, they were critical in shaping the outcome of the war and the subsequent geopolitical landscape. Despite the devastation, the Soviet Union emerged from the war as a global superpower. This ascension was a testament to the resilience and determination of a nation that had endured immense hardship. The war left an indelible mark on the Soviet Union, shaping its future in ways that would reverberate through the rest of the 20th century. Post-World War II, the world was divided into two major blocks, marking the beginning of the Cold War. The Cold War, a term coined by English writer George Orwell, was a period of geopolitical tension between two superpowers, the Soviet Union and the United States, and their respective allies. It was not a conventional war fought with tanks and soldiers, but rather a battle of ideologies, economic systems, and political influence that lasted from 1947 to 1991. One of the most significant milestones of this era was the space race. It was a competition of technological superiority, with both nations aiming to conquer the final frontier: space. The Soviets took an early lead, launching the first artificial satellite, Sputnik, and sending the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space. However, the Americans ultimately won the race by landing a man on the moon in 1969. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 was another critical event during the Cold War. The Soviet Union, in an attempt to counteract the threat of American nuclear weapons in Turkey, placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles off the coast of the United States. This move brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Fortunately, a peaceful resolution was reached when the Soviets agreed to remove their missiles in exchange for the US promising not to invade Cuba, and secretly agreeing to remove its missiles from Turkey. The relationship between the Soviet Union and the United States during this era was one of constant tension and competition. They were locked in a struggle for global dominance, each promoting its political and economic system as superior. This rivalry manifested itself in various ways, including the arms race, proxy wars, and propaganda campaigns. However, this period of tension and competition was not sustainable. The economic strain of maintaining military parity with the United States and the growing discontent among its citizens led to a series of reforms in the Soviet Union. These changes, instead of saving the Soviet Union, accelerated its collapse. The Cold War era was a time of tension and competition which ultimately led to the downfall of the Soviet Union. By 1991, the once mighty Soviet Union was on the brink of dissolution. A perfect storm of circumstances was brewing, threatening to topple this giant from its lofty perch. On one hand, the country was grappling with severe economic problems. A stagnant economy, burdened by the costs of maintaining a vast military and a centralized, inefficient economic system, was struggling to keep up with the rest of the world. On the other hand, nationalistic movements were gaining momentum. A multitude of ethnic groups long suppressed under the iron fist of Soviet rule were now clamoring for autonomy and independence. The Baltic states led the way, followed by others, creating a domino effect that Moscow could not stop. The coup de grace came with the failed coup attempt in August 1991. This event, intended to restore the Communist Party's power, instead accelerated the dissolution process. And so, the Soviet Union, once a global superpower, came to an end. The history of the Soviet Union is a tale of rise and fall. Emerging from the ashes of the Russian Empire, the Soviet Union's birth was marked by revolutionary zeal and the promise of a workers' paradise. As the world plunged into the chaos of World War II, the Soviet Union assumed an instrumental role, facing immense sacrifice and hardship, yet playing a pivotal part in the defeat of the Axis powers. The Cold War era saw the Soviet Union at the height of its power, locked in a tense and dangerous ideological standoff with the West. Yet this period was also characterized by internal struggles, political repression, and economic challenges. Ultimately, these issues led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union, an event that sent shockwaves around the globe and marked the end of an era. From its birth to its dissolution, the Soviet Union has left an indelible mark on world history.